of the Global Strategic Alliances team at 360TF. I see a lot of familiar faces here, and hence, without much delay and further introductions, I would like to welcome Ms. Binita Shah. She heads the Strategic Alliances and Digital Marketing Desk at 360TF. She is one of the first few members to join 360TF and has seen this journey of 15 months of 360TF, of getting 360TF to where it is. So I would like to welcome her to the dais.
Thanks, Himakshi. Good evening, everyone, and a warm welcome to the launch of 360TF in the city, which is called City of Dreams, Amchi, Mumbai. I know you guys are returning from a hectic Monday, and Bombay traffic has kind of harassed all of us, but we are glad to see you all, and a very warm welcome once again. I'll probably keep my introduction a little short and not keeping you away from the exciting evening that we have. And I'm sure everybody would want to hear what Dr. Anil Khandelwal has to say to all of us. Ray Inamato, one of the most brilliant creative directors of the modern era, puts it aptly when he says creativity and innovations are about finding unexpected solutions to obvious problems or finding obvious solutions to unexpected problems. A decade ago, the business fraternity was pondering around unexpected problems in trade and corporate finance, while conducting business in frontier geographies like Bangladesh or Sri Lanka, GCC, or African countries. The obvious solution to such a problem was to have a local partner who has an expertise in dealing in those markets and who absolutely knows the nerve on how to do business in these geographies. This is when Nimai was conceptualized to address the specific need gaps in solving the problems that the corporates were facing then. And Nimai comes with a strong expertise in the trade finance with the financial institution connects across the globe. Today, Nimai's proven credentials over the past decade put it in an envious position of leading global player with a strong relationships across. Fast forward to today, and as we speak, the world is more interconnected than ever before, and businesses are becoming more and more global in nature. While business potentials remain extremely high, the corporates are juggling with obvious issues of availability, accessibility, and plain and simple affordability of trade finance across the globe. This is where the co-founders of 360TF, CA Pankaj Mundra and Vikram Lodha, creative thoughts came in, and they poured in their expertise and experience in making the platform 360TF that we are launching today. 360TF connects business across the globe with the banks and the corporate, matching the liquidity to the trade finance demand, thereby accelerating the availability. And finally, promoting healthy competition among financiers by driving down financing cost for customers, and which is what also the pain area of most of the corporates are. Isn't it like an unexpected solution to the obvious problem? Yes, we feel so. We might have a question, how is Nimai and 360TF both connected? So here's a simple take. If Nimai is Alphabet, you can think of 360TF as Google. Leveraged on Nimai's extensive experience across the globe, including the frontier geographies that we spoke about, the co-founders of 360TF have poured their passion and creativity into delivering solutions that fill real need gaps. 360TF degree across the globe 360TF is a solution. 360TF is a trade ecosystem that we are creating. Incorporated in Singapore with offices in India, UAE, Oman, Qatar, Bangladesh, and soon to be launching in Kenya, 360TF is on roll since the launch in August 2021. 360TF has rapidly advanced through its launch to being a preferred trade finance partner for over 600 corporates across the globe. So we have already, as in 600 corporates have already started benefiting by the solution that 360TF is offering. The transaction flow that we have seen so far has been over $8 billion. After strategic launches in the 8 most important and critical geographies in India, we gather here today to celebrate the launch of 360TF in Amchi, Mumbai. And I take this moment to thank all of you for joining this celebration. We look forward to serving you through our service, through our solutions. Let me part with an interesting take on timeless quote. Necessity may be mother of all inventions, but commerce is definitely the father. Not surprising, I guess all inventions were either commercialized or came about as a result or to facilitate and support the commerce. And thus I say that. With this, I welcome our co-founder and chairman, CA Pankaj Mundra, to welcome Dr. Anil A. Khandelwal, whose leadership and mentorship lessons are absorbed by many of us sitting in the room and outside in the industry, and including Pankaj and Vikram themselves. Thank you, and wishing you a pleasant evening ahead. Thanks, everyone.
Happy evening, everyone. Welcome to all of you. I'm really fortunate to, being part of various business leadership program and workshop led by Dr. Anil Khandelwal, be it was in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Oman, Bahrain, South Africa, Kenya, Ghana, Georgia, CIS countries. And that all those leadership programs, which I was fortunate enough to be part of those programs, gave us a path-breaking experiences with Doctor, which as an organization, as a Nimai and 360TF, as well as myself as a profession, we have been implementing over the last 6 years. The key one is, how do we transform an organization through people, processes, and building intangibles in an organization. I still remember his anecdote of the key takeaways: be a rebel, change the status quo, and change the processes. Challenge the processes. Be a good listener. Communications gives insight. Always communicate smartly. Every organization can be transformed, whether it's small or big. Create a magical 25th hour for learning. Be persistent with the self. Respect the self and control the self. So, Doctor, we are fortunate to have you here today. Let me give this formal introduction, as most of you know you, but I know some new faces in the room. So, Dr. Anil Khandelwal is a well-known thought leader, author, international keynote speaker on transformational leadership and governance. He's a chemical engineer, an MBA, and has a PhD in management. Among the several awards and honors Doctor have received, which include Asia's highest award, Asian Banker, Singapore, the Lifetime Award in Excellence for contributions in the financial sector, the only Indian banker and finance professional who have received this honor. He's been on the boards of several companies like GAIL, Maharatna Company, and advisor to many global consulting firms like Accenture, Booz and Company, Hewitt, and KPMG, to name few. He was also honored with Lifetime Achievement Award from National HRD Network for his sterling contribution in the field of human resource department. He also chaired an advisory group on HRD set up by the Ministry of Finance, Government of India. He is known for his pioneering transformational contribution in Bank of Baroda as his chairman and managing director between 2005 to 2008. Before this, he also headed Dena Bank. He's also been UNDP consultant to Bank Reform Commission to Government of Tanzania and a visiting professor and advisor to Asian Institute of Management, Manila, Philippines. And friends, in fact, when I traveled to Tanzania in 2019, just before the lockdown, I met the few professionals in CRDB Bank and Central Bank of Tanzania, and they still remember his contribution, what has been given, during this trip to Tanzania. He was also appointed by the Government of India to head a committee on HR for the public sector banks, popularly known as Khandelwal Committee. He was also appointed by the government as a member of First Bank Board Bureau, BBB, which selects the full-time director of public sector banks. He has authored several books, including the 3 bestsellers, Dare to Lead, which most of us have read, CEO, a chess master or a gardener, and recently the Transformational Leadership in Banking. Of course, along with us, most of us, he also lives in Mumbai. As we launch our Mumbai office today, we felt that who could be better mentor or a guide to us to bless us with the refresher of this 6 years of learning and share his leadership wisdom with all of us and our clients and friends today as we all move forward to grow our businesses with the current economic environment and step into 2023. So with this, friends, please help me welcome Dr. Anil Khandelwal.
Thank you, Pankaj, for a very intimidating introduction. All CVs on paper look very good, let me tell you. All. And the real test of a CV is what that man is known outside, And so I think that is important. So you can, for that matter, that's fine. So thank you, Pankaj. Mr. Kalia, my former colleague, Vikram, Dinesh, some people I know, of course. And it is really a great pleasure to be here this evening, more so when something is initiated or done by Pankaj and his team. I have known him now for 7, 8 years, to believe. When he invited me to Dubai as a keynote speaker, he was chairman of CA Association. Although I headed a bank, I dare say I'm not an accountant, and I'm very happy about it. Because the kind of work you do is very exhausting, I tell you. I'm a free bird who likes to travel, go to musical evenings, attend literature festivals. You can't imprison me in the game of numbers. And I've been a bit of misfit in the sense people shake hands, they say, oh, you chair 2 large banks, they start talking of usual stuff. And I said, look here, spare me from that. So I know as much banking which is necessary to perform my job. Some of my colleagues, Mr. Kalia, sitting there in the bank. And I enjoyed. First of all, I congratulate you for initiating this 360 thing. And I understand this is the product of Corona, which itself shows the spirit of experimentation, spirit of creative thinking, and spirit of innovation. As I said, as the madam said, these things are very, very important, and you have done it. Now, many people may not know that, and don't mistake me because he called me here, so we are scratching each other's back. I'm a very blunt man by nature, and don't spare even my closest people. But I have a great respect for Pankaj for one thing, that every year he spends about 10 days, disappears into some sort of a meditational retreat under a guru. I think to find time for the self is very important. I have always believed that in this rush of intellectual traffic jams that is running around, to find time for oneself is the greatest thing. Because investment of the self into the self is the essence of life, which chapter 6, verse 5 of Gita also says, Uddhrain, whatever I can't pronounce, but I know it is there. So that's very fundamental. Today, friends, I would like to share with you that any profession, CA included, doctor included, let us not get cocooned in this specialization, narrow specializations, which are important. Bread and butter, which runs our kitchen. Today, depth of intellectual work, but I think more important is breadth of perspective. And this breadth of perspective comes when we really look at other things, what is happening. I think we should have courage to say, I'm getting bored in this job, I don't think I'll continue here. I was recently reading a book written by, the book is called what? Mosaic or something. This lady, she was assisting a judge in US Supreme Court. And one fine morning resigned, became a journalist and author. And she's writing some of the best books about, yes, she has written a book, this Happiness Project. I'm sorry, not Mosaic. Happiness Project. And she has shared what it is all about. You see, today so much is happening in the world. We are bombarded so much. Thousands of TV channels world over, thousands of newspapers, thousands of blogs. On the top of it, LinkedIn, Twitter, Elon Musk, and all nuisance that you can think of. They are all bombarding our peace, I tell you. They are rocking and they are really bombarding us. And we have become prisoners. So the moment aircraft lands, I have counted 95% people take out there and they are doing this. Physical exercise is reduced to thumb exercise now. The most used item in the world today is not mind or brain, but our thumb, because we are shuffling through our thumb and fingers emails. This is a very dangerous development in the world. Very, very dangerous, not from health, but I think mental well-being. And we have seen how many cases of mental illness have come during Corona. Anyway, I just wanted to know what change are coming. A major change that is coming. There is a recent book by Linda Gretton from London Business School. After huge research, an economist and Linda Gretton, who is a behavioral scientist, they have written a book that life is going to be now for 100 years on an average, maybe after 25 years. And our work life is going to extend to 70 years or 80 years. So what is our preparation for that life? Would you remain accountant for 70 years? Would you remain a doctor for 70 years? Or an engineer for 70 or 80 years? How are we chalking out strategies for 3 careers now? Trust me, when we have seen our parents at the age of 60, at that time they looked boodhe log, as if they were 80. Today, at the age of 75, 80, people are wearing T-shirt and the latest modern this thing, or kaan mein ye laga ke, they are walking. That's the visible and palpable change that we see around. Now, imagine when somebody will live up to 100, the work will extend up to 80. And therefore, there's one question. The second and most important is that this is not the word of only human beings. This is the word of human plus machines. Now, human plus machines means that machine and AI and all its associates and family members of AI, they've taken away most of the routine things. I am not sure whether your recent World Congress on Chartered Accountants discussed the impact of technology on your profession. Because I believe that most of the accounting, most of the compliance, most of the risk management can be handled by technology. If not today, 10 years, 15 years, and thousands of people may be working. I hope your conference may have discussed the implications of, and therefore, what is your preparation for a second? I was Pankaj, not to scare you. While coming in car, was thinking of your 360, by the way. Can technology not do all that? You are connecting people, and at some point of time, maybe after 10 years, you have to think of another 360. I'm not sure. But I'm into now fantasy for the future. A lot of changes, we don't know. And what is happening, rate of change outside world are far greater than rate of change inside the organization. And further rate of change in the individuals are still lesser. We are not able to cope. The rate of change outside the world are intimidating in every field. Intimidating. The other day I went for a tooth implant. And the doctor said, don't worry, there will be 6 injections, but you won't feel impact, they are computerized. We'll only put a needle and the computer will, I said, what is that? Dental thing is being taken now by this, and believe me, I didn't feel till the operation was over, and today I'm feeling, but at that time, I didn't feel, and they could. There is no field spared by technology. No field. I don't know whether you are aware that in manufacturing organizations, robots are new supervisors. They are instructing workers. In some of the companies, hundreds and thousands of supervisors have become redundant. They are guiding them. And now, world over, research is going on the what we have right brain activities, whether robots can do, not sure, but maybe 20 years after. So please think that world is changing. We cannot manage tomorrow's problem with yesterday's mindset and yesterday's methodologies. And what are our yesterday mind and methodology? Power. With every promotion, power. With every promotion, perquisites. So I tell you, I worked in a bank. Why I was happy when I became executive director 22 years back, I was happy for 2 things. Business class travel and an air-conditioned car, because up to general manager, you had no air conditioning car at that time. So you can imagine how power and rules of games are changing today. Notion of power is changing today. Anyone who brings new knowledge on the table is powerful, is the new boss. Gray hairs are being replaced by fancy hairs because they have the mind, if they can bring that kind of wisdom. So you see, the challenge before organizations are no less. The challenge before the other day somebody told me, in X Bank, do you know who is the most powerful man today? and they named the man, I knew the man. He has joined only 4 or 5 years back, and he's almost running the bank. Of course, chairman, ED, he's so much. He's the man who runs technology there. And there is so much of frustration in the colleague GM, CGM, because power is shrinking. And there's a zero-sum game. If it shrinks here, it goes somewhere else. And this man is amazingly creative, innovative, and you can say the man who, so you just imagine what is happening to notional power. Are we ready to deal with this kind of people? IIT, IIM combinations or some other combination, not that they have all the wisdom. But there is a famous Chinese proverb that even donkeys live in Harvard. So that my professor used to tell, because, so he says, don't worry. But what I'm trying to say is that the momentum of change is overwhelming. Please understand this tempo of change. But where is the time to understand and to think? Go back 5 minutes into your respective job. Like a machine, you leave your home, and like a directed, with the mask of a man, you dance to the tune of your laptops and machines and whatnot, and you return in the evening, sweated, tired, to be ready to sleep and again start next day morning. So where is happiness? Where is joy? And how are we planning in terms of our time, because someone else is controlling our time? So thought number 1, take charge of yourself. And please trust me, anybody who tells where is the time, I am very doubtful of his leadership quality. Extremely suspicious of that man, whether he can make a leader. So in interviews, when I used to ask, when I was in BBB, to people who came for interview for chairman, ED, so did you see a film lately? Saab, time kahan hai? Did you read a book? Time kahan hai? So people virtually are expecting others to do on their behalf. This is like asking your doctor to do morning walk on your behalf. It cannot happen. That is why I said create magical 25th hour for personal growth, for personal development. And as Parkinson said, it is the busiest man who has all the time. Recently somebody has done through AI technique, I don't know, he was sharing in an international conference. He has recorded his 3 years minute by minute, how he has spent and where this time has been deployed and what kind of a thing, and a big research he has produced. I have not been able to lay my hands. He said he will send me some link, which has not come. But this is the kind of thing today. The biggest people in the world, the richest people in the world are poor in time. Time is the new poverty, afflicting poor. And this is the poverty of rich, poverty of CEOs, time. And I can assure you, if you look at it, that most people are not only bad time managers, they waste time of others so much that we can't imagine. You go to some boss's cabins, 5 juniors are waiting to meet the boss. So your day is dictated by a boss who mismanages his time. These are actual corporate, you will go, and these traditional things will go away. Everywhere, you must have seen now the other day in banks, government has said we'll bring outsiders and 10-year tenure. Probably government believes that and rightly so, perhaps, we don't know. So the whole complexion and notion of power is going away. If your self-management skills are good, you are wanted. Competence alone is not enough. Left brain alone will not be enough. Right brain activities are important in terms of how creative you are, how innovative you are, whether you are a critical thinker, what is your emotional quotient, how are you good at relationship management, how you are good at working with people. Because whatever little of people are left out after technology, if CEO cannot manage them, he is not required. And you know something? Slowly India is having that culture, but world over culture is SAC. What you read? Twitter has removed so many, LinkedIn has removed so many, Bezos has removed so many. You have India's Bezos and India's Elon Musk. The news does not come today. A lot of people are. Imagine in the morning you go with tie and suit to a job and in the evening say that I am sacked. So therefore, there was a time when we studied and we thought, chalo pura ho gaya, abhi job karenge, and rest of the life is good. I think your new life of learning begins the day you join a job. So you are a perpetual student today. That's the change. If anybody thinks that he has all the wisdom because he is holding a position of power, he is living in fool's paradise. He is a man fit for lunatic asylum rather than running a corporate. Position is only a position. So therefore, there are a lot of opportunities for those young people who are improving their breadth of perspective. And this breadth of perspective does not come by merely being a star in your profession, because you are only 100% you are devoting to that. And that's important. You have to think of your 30%, 40%, 20% of really changing tracks, really thinking, creatively about yourself. What is it that after this profession you like? What is that next thing? And what are you doing to develop that? It's very important. The couple of things that I think that makes in the new technological environment, which is ruthless, which is intimidating, which is creating so much of turbulence in the social system that in the life's flight, you are on permanent turbulence. At least on actual flight, we think that 20-minute turbulence, 30-minute turbulence, or it will go away before landing. We are on life's flight of permanent turbulence. Where is our seat? What we call that? Belts, seat belts. Now, this can, let me share with you, after painting a bit pessimistic and a scary picture, because people don't understand otherwise. I'm sorry. And which is right. I'm not speaking from my head. I'm reading a lot. And I'm finding after reading a book, I go into some sort of reflection for a couple of days and feel, good Lord, I passed my age. I don't have to live again to undergo this torture of change. It is overwhelming. You just imagine, so on one side, it improves our life. Today, everything we can do faster. And another side, look at the social system at home. We always say children don't listen. Nobody. The kind of autonomy children have got, the kind of things they are born on the first day they are born, in the first 6 months, the mother, working mother, teaches him to keep him busy. I think she will show him or her cartoons on the net, and cartoons on this, and cartoons and there, and the fellow starts grabbing a mobile by the time he's 3. So once who has tasted all these things, what happens to your usual authority system? So what happens? He say, "Arey bhai, beta, come back by 7. Mama, why? You tell your something to your son. Why? We are living in a why society now. Papa, why? Mama, why? In our time, what was there? Not to question how and why, but do and die. Why पूछा नहीं, एक थप्पड़ पड़ा नहीं. The dramatic change that the world is undergoing, or rightly, we should not resent this world, but it's very important to inculcate values, and that's our failure, that we have failed to inculcate values because our professions kept us so busy, I tell you, that we almost delegated this job to either non-working wives or servants. Now, I am sharing all this to understand that I think I've spoken more than enough how world is changing. Let me see what other points I wanted to talk lest I forget. Am I crossing time? Huh? No, but I have to bother about others. People have different reasons to come to a conference, let me tell you. Yeah, I'd like to tell you how this breadth of perspective. How many of you know that Churchill got Nobel Prize? Please raise your hands. No, genuinely. 3 people. 2 people know that Churchill got Nobel Prize, right? How many of you know that Churchill got Nobel Prize for literature? Well-informed people, if 2 people know. Can you imagine Churchill getting Nobel Prize for literature? He should have got for fighting Nazis or saving British Empire. Why? Churchill's right brain. Churchill was a great literary figure. He wrote 3 volumes on the leadership, military leadership. And Churchill's articulation, writings, and how many know that Churchill was a painter also? Now, if you meet great people in the world, they have such diverse interests. Before I complete, I would like to say that if we want to remain relevant in this world as human beings, create multi-dimensional personality. I can tell you, I go to many different shows. I've been going. I don't find finance professionals there somehow. Go to a theater, I won't find one. I ask his wife, sometimes wives are interested. अरे वो तो busy है, as you know. मार्च चल रहा है, इस समय तो वो month ऐसा चल रहा है. Now, what I'm trying to say is develop slowly. There's no condemnation of that. What you are doing is a fantastic job. You are building India. What I'm saying is you have to change tracks a bit. Invest into. I found out after a colleague of mine retired as general manager, it is a shocking revelation to me that he was an MA in music. Because now I am learning music, somebody told, I phoned him, अरे जोशी साहब यार आप MA म्यूजिक में थे? अरे खंडेलवाल साहब क्या बैंक में क्या म्यूजिक, बैंक का म्यूजिक तो पता है आपको क्या चलता है. तो मैंने कहा, आर यू परसुइंग और नॉट? कहता, नाउ आई एम परसुइंग. He sings so well. None of us knew. Mr. Kalia, my colleague, will say, "Arey, Joshi was MA music." I tell you, we don't know the kind of people in our respective organizations because they come with some people. In Corona, I came to know some of my colleagues, they are such good writers. People have written books. I could never imagine that. I said, यार ये तो एक बैंक में लेटर नहीं लिख सकता था ठीक सा. इसने तो किताब लिख दी. People have hidden talent, I'm telling you. So much of hidden talent people have got. But regretfully, I should say that many people do, I don't know, variety, and what do they say? Because of organization, I can't do. I don't buy that somehow. I always believe who can frustrate me unless I decide to get frustrated? Who can frustrate me unless I decide? So I think take charge of yourself. Take charge of yourself. Invest in yourself. Create the 25th magical hour for yourself. And I'm sure it's not impossible. Next time in a conference like this, if we meet, I'll be very happy to learn that I spent 3 to 5% time and I am enjoying it. No, Rome was not built overnight. I'm not here to say that, no, kal se jaake apna sab band kar do and do that. No, 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 I know the practical realities. So, ladies and gentlemen, I finish here. I think I have talked whatever I wanted to talk. And I wish you all the best, Pankaj and your team, Vikram. Your names are very good, Pankaj and Vikram. And I'm sure you will do wonders. And your team and the wonderful ladies who are here and all the professionals, I thank you for listening to me. Believe me, I have often thought and felt very sympathetic to listeners at this time of the day. After finishing day's job, if you come and listen to someone, you have given me a great honor. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Sir, I request you to just be on the stage for a minute. Yeah. No, sir. Sir, after listening to you, it gave me shivers to get on the stage, actually. So, please be here on the stage. Yes. Thank you, sir.
If anybody has any question, I'll be happy to answer.
Absolutely.
And if I can't answer, it's so intelligent question, I will say it's an intelligent question.
Anybody, any questions? Yes, yes. Mic, please.
Yeah, okay. Any question? Anything?
So I think my voice is very rough, so I will not be needing a mic.
Okay. You think so, others don't think so because it can't reach there.
Am I audible to all? Sir, the one question that I think you raised here was very, very relevant and very, very, I think, eye-opening was that today people are still young, post 60. And we forget that when our parents retired, they were actually looking old. Like this one very thing, one very critical thing. So can we not put that to also that we are engaging more, keeping ourselves busy, and hence we are more active as compared to what our parents were, or as compared to compare the pressures that today an entrepreneur has, or an enterprise has, or a promoter or a co-founder has, as compared to the pressures that our parents faced. I think that also is keeping us on
So,
our foot.
in a way you are right, but this is not to say that that was good and this is not good. This is to say that we have, in the emerging world, we have to keep younger till 70, till 80 perhaps. That's what. So, by keeping busy, that's all right. But suddenly something, the point that I'm debating and that I'm saying is, how are we keeping busy? That's important. If you are keeping busy and happy, absolutely no problem. But lot of research has shown, the famous research, I now forget things of that organization, which shows only 40% people are engaged in the job. Maybe you are in that 40%. Most people you talk privately, And you ask a question to yourself. How much time you are able to find for yourself? If you are able to find, wonderful. I have known a person from State Bank of India. When I was in Bank of Baroda Staff College, we used to call him for lecture. He was CGM of LHO Ahmedabad. Being a CGM, he'll be at 9 o'clock for the class when half of my students will not be there. They will still be yawning and say, but he will be there. And he came at 9 o'clock after he's doing morning walk, yoga and music lessons. That person is my ideal. He's no more. But tell me, how many people manage it that way in life? Most people experience internal boredom. What am I doing? Day after day, same job. But anyway, if you are happy with that, I have no issue. You go to a doctor, and if you are healthy and fine, what problem doctor can have? Except, very good. But, you know, most people who, especially most heart patients, I'm talking of research has revealed. We normally say cardiac arrest ho gaya. Now research have revealed there is nothing like cardiac arrest. There are enough symptoms in that person internally, but there is a denial syndrome. How many times our spouses tell, भाई आजकल कुछ ठीक नहीं लग रहा है, तुम better I think go to a doctor. नहीं नहीं अरे तुम्हें कैसे ठीक? I'm fine, I'm doing fine. And one day, you reluctantly go to doctor, he say get admitted, you can't go back home. वो भी सुना है ना आपने? Anyway, but you are right in a way that we are more active these days. That's not enough. You have to find out if that is creating happiness enough. That is ingratiating our power syndrome. Power itself contributes to happiness, let me tell you. But if it's doing wonderful, I have no issue. I am not saying all people who are not spending time on themselves are unhappy lot. That is not my argument. My argument is that invest in yourself. That's my argument. Yes. No question. It's indication that it was all hopeless. Any last question? So I now understand your need, so let us close it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your great insights and sharing more about your journey. Your words were inspiring and your story was motivating. We have a few guests here amongst us from Senegal. I would like to acknowledge that, thank you for your presence from 1CCA, Nede Meget, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, and also Mor Dieng. Thank you so much for being here. We have our friends from Africa here. Thank you so much for being here. Talking more about the session, as I said, I am already shivering coming before you all after Sir has spoken so much. It is really interesting to know, sir, about your perspective on work-life balance, how machines or technology changes the multiplying outside world, and the paucity of time in people's life for activities like reading and writing or any of their hobbies is getting lower and lower. Thank you so much once again for sharing these beautiful insights. Moving ahead, I would now like to call upon our co-founder and chairman, Mr. Pankaj Mundra. Pankaj, I'm sure, and he needs no introduction from my side, but definitely I would like to share a brief about his piece of story, which would, which probably not most of us would know from here. Just a second. So while the slide is getting put up, I would like to tell you all that Pankaj started his entrepreneurial journey at the age of 6 by started selling his, his favorite Chacha Chaudhary comics and started earning revenue out of it. And that was his share of revenue, of course. Moving ahead, he then knew and wanted to, make his skills better, which was then after he started selling Gulkand, which is rose jam, rose flavored jam, and rose water. Again, exploring his skills and hands at business. This was not enough for him, of course. And as we all know, Pankaj sir, he wants to just move ahead and dig in deeper into things. He then went ahead and, of course, started his own warping business. And that is when he realized that his interest into finance and business was indulging him more and more and making him more and more curious. This is what led to him taking up CA as his professional curriculum. He then began his banking journey after clearing his CA with ICICI at BKC itself. Further to this, he then worked with Standard Chartered Bank and moved to Dubai in the year 2000 and started his journey with ABN and Mashrak Bank. Mashrak Bank is the place he got into trade finance, and that is how he also got into his entrepreneur journey and began as a chairman of the Nimai group. To talk more about his journey from Nimai to 360 TF, I would like to call him upon the...
Wonderful to listen to you again this evening and join us. Thank you once again for joining us and encouraging this journey which we living from Nimai to 360 TF. So yeah, this has been a very wonderful journey as Himakshi talked about, from selling comics to the rose waters and the warping, the textile business, and then started my journey here in BKC. I was just here the other day at ICICI Bank, and I was feeling wonderful that I started as a trainee in ICICI in '98, and now I'm here. So interesting journey. We created Nimai when we started just post crisis of Lehman Brothers in 2009, with the vision of, with my experience of working with Mashrak Bank, that we used to see that exporters, the entrepreneurs in those days until now used to face challenges when they will get an order from countries like Bangladesh or Sri Lanka or Nepal or Kenya or Tanzania or Uganda for that matter. And this is how the journey of Nimai started, that can we take more and more exporters to new banks to take them to new geographies and new countries. So Mashrak was the the learning ground where we at Mashrak used to cover 80 countries, and that was the only bank in Middle East. The whole idea came, Mashrak, by the way, for you who are not from UAE, is like ICICI Bank of that region, and one of the active bank in South Asia and Africa. So the whole idea came that can we create more Mashraks of the world, and this is how the whole idea was conceived, and we started Nimai in 2009 and 10. And then, of course, my partner, Captain Sunil, so me and Captain Sunil started this journey. Then we added third partner, Nisarg Dugar, in 2011 and 12, who was our first client, and he then went and became our partner. We were the first firm, I'm proud to share, to travel to Bangladesh in 2011. Even PwC came to Dhaka in 2016. We were the first Indian firm to travel to Bangladesh, and we did a first interesting transaction of standby letter of credit, which is very common in India and other markets, where Central Bank of Bangladesh have to issue a circular that how a state bank, SBLC transaction can be done. So that was being done in 2011 and 12. And yeah, we then went to Sri Lanka, Africa. 2015-16, we became the first super brand in financial consulting business in Dubai. And post that, as Doctor mentioned, the way the technology is moving, 17-18, we realized the way the Meta and Facebook those days was started growing, and everybody was moving to technology, be it e-commerce, Amazon or Facebook. We realized that whether we were able to sustain the same business model with, I request the team here to take a silence, management team here, sorry. So we started then thinking about this, that what technology we can bring. And literally when we started this project, we are the first WhatsApp group, and everybody know in ICI and in Nimai and 360 TF that I start all the project with WhatsApp groups. So we then started with a WhatsApp group with a name called Uber of Trade Finance. And this is how 360 TF journey started in 1780. We conceived this, that we need a technology where all banks of the world can come on the one platform. all importers and exporters of the world can come on the one platform, and then you don't require a broker or a consultant. They all can connect directly to the banks. Bank can do a direct KYC, and then you strengthen the, automate the whole process. So we used to know Vikram, my partner who is here, the co-founder and CEO of 360TF. I used to work at that point of time with Kotak Mahindra Bank as a MOU to help Kotak Bank's customer to assist for Bangladesh, and Vikram was leading that project with Kotak at that point of time. And when we started with this project, then we came, going back to Vikram, that we would like to join us as a co-founder and partner, and then he came in, and then of course we signed up with him in 2019, and then of course we identified a technology partner who is also there among us in this room. We have finalized the vendor, and we started working the project. Thanks to COVID, Corona, that we could expedite the whole, the development of the platform. And then we went live last year in August. We did a lot of prototypes with various banks across, and then we did the first transaction in 1st August last year. So we are live as a platform now for last 15 months. And I must say in 15 months, which is close to, now 440, 450 days, we acquired, with Himakshi and Benita also mentioned, 600 customers. So more than in, literally now we're acquiring under my colleague leadership, Lokesh, who's our head of international corporate sales now, literally 2 customers per day. And next month onward, we want to acquire 3 corporate customers per day. You are in audit firm, consulting corporate banks and branch. One bank or branch will not acquire 2 or 3 corporate per day. And of course, if you're an audit firm, you know how much it takes time to acquire that customer. But we can do that with the help of our young team and using technology and social media to reach out a customer in Belgium and he see a LinkedIn post that we are covering a bank in Tanzania, CRDB, or a Sterling Bank in Nigeria, and seeing that post on LinkedIn, he connect with us, and then of course our team connect with them through a Zoom call, and he is on our platform now. So this has been journey, and yeah, we have onboarded a lot of listed companies, including a large conglomerate from like Ozan Coca-Cola from Dubai, or a listed company like Dabur on our platform. So we have almost 80% of our customers are SMEs, and we have Ravi Sinha Saab. He has come all the way from Delhi. Ravi Nandan, Sinha, where he's heading, is a director for MSME business in India, and we recently met in Dubai a week back, and we're looking forward to work with you as how we can take these SME global and mitigate the risk of payment. So we did our first round of funding, as we are also led by the angel investors, and which I will talk about later in the next slide. But yeah, this has been journey so far. We crossed a volume of 8,000 crore in June. So what does it mean? That till today we have got 18,000 crore of transactions on our platform. So when you see that this much of transaction going through a UPI or a Paytm or PayPal, that is the transaction volume which goes through the platform. But of course the revenue and the other dynamics are different. But we have crossed a volume of 18,000 crore till today on our platform just in 15 months time. And now as we speak, we just closed our pre-series A round with a very interesting investors, as we all, everybody's talking about Africa, and we also have a lot of plans to expand into Africa. So our new investor which has come in this round is also from Africa, is one of the billionaire from East Africa. And we have been going very fast. So as you've seen on the last slide, we opened up in Chennai, Hyderabad, Ludhiana, Amritsar, Ahmedabad, and now today in Mumbai. So, and of course next month in Kolkata, Pinakida is there, our strategic advisor on trade finance. Pinakida is our ex-SBI banker. So we are coming Dada to Kolkata, and of course to Ahmedabad. So that's where how we're moving and be on the journey. So very quickly, the slide which you see here, we have dealt with 250 plus banks globally. So today I just want to give you a perspective that if you understand trade finance, in trade finance when you export into a new market, you require a larger bank to cover that risk. So for example, you're exporting to Kenya, maybe a SDFC or Karur Vysya Bank or Bank of Maharashtra cannot cover the risk of a Kenyan bank, but maybe a UK-based bank who ruled that country, as the Britishers, their bank from UK, maybe a Barclays know that market better than a Karur Vysya or Bank of Maharashtra over here. So globally, there are 420 banks who take an exposure on a cross-border transaction. That means ICICI take a cross-border exposure, but not all banks. So maybe Andhra Bank or Karur Vysya, Bank of Maharashtra may not handle a cross-border transaction because they don't have presence outside. So there are 420 banks globally who take a cross-border exposure, and out of 420, we have dealt with 250. And just to give some statistics, in India, out of those 420, only 72 banks are present. So there are 420 global banks who take exposure on a LC of Kenya or a Burkina Faso or Senegal or Tanzania or Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, out of 420, only 72 are present in India. So if you are a largest corporate or a listed company of India and you may deal with all those 72 banks in Mumbai, but what happened to remaining 350 banks who are not part of this one? And we realized post-corona and pandemic where a large CFO of a listed company will go to London and US for a road show. Now that was not possible in last 2 years. And now while travel budgets are there, but travel becomes so restrictive that the HR head or a budget, the finance will ask you, do we really need to travel or can you use a fintech to meet those banks in UK or US? So recently, Vikram, my co-founder and CEO, was in Amsterdam to attend Sibos. Anybody know what is Sibos? Anyone? Sibos is a mela, the or the get-together of all the banks organized by SWIFT, and almost 9,000 banks were there in Amsterdam. Of course, after a long, long time, this meeting was there. And when he met a lot of bankers, he said, you are a mini Sibos because you have all the banks on your platform. So why I need to come to Sibos every year if I can connect with the banks through your platform? So now this is how people coined the term that you are a mini Sibos itself on 360TF. So we have dealt with 250 plus banks. $8 billion of volume came on our platform prior to this 360TF avatar and now. And of course, we executed close to $3 billion of transaction with close to almost 1,000 plus transactions. So this is the statistic to just share with you. We have headquartered out of Singapore with an office in India, in physical office in Jaipur, in Qatar, Bangladesh, and now of course we plan to open a physical office in Kenya and early next year in Texas, in US and California. So that's how we're growing. What is the vision and ultimate what we want to achieve is, could we take every Indian exporter to 190 countries? Because today what happened is, you've been selling goods, but you're selling goods domestic. You may be selling goods to 1 or 2 market, but the same product can go to country 3, country 4, country 5. And what we have seen by doing our events in Chennai, Hyderabad, Amritsar, everywhere, that my sales department get an order, but I say, nahi, I don't want to go to Kenya. I don't want to go to Bangladesh. Payment doesn't come on time. And that has been perception being created. The sales never go to that extent that he can book that sales because the finance team doesn't support that country LC. So we are enabling every Indian exporter that the salesperson can go and book order from anywhere. Of course, it should fit in the commercial sales price direction of the organization, but he should not be worried of saying no to that transaction because his bank is not willing to take that transaction. You will be surprised to know India or Indian banks, 80% of the Indian export transaction, a few of you are exporters here, are being discounted by Indian bank with recourse to you. That means if Kenyan banks fails or a country fails or country don't have dollar, your bank will recover that money from you. They're doing a discounting, but it is with recourse to, it is not without recourse discounting. Most of the public sector bank do with recourse discounting, not without recourse discounting. The risk remains in your balance sheet. But the moment without recourse discounting with a foreign bank, the risk goes out of your balance sheet. The risk has moved to a Citi, Standard Chartered, BNP or a commerce bank. So that's what we want to do, that we mitigate the risk of payment and take every Indian exporter to 190 countries. So that's the vision, to have that 2% of market share globally of trade finance. And that's the path which we are embarking on, and we have fantastic response so far. There are various accolades which we have received, which is part of social media. But I want to see on the rightmost side, this is a forum called SME Finance, backed up by IFC World Bank. So of course my colleague Benita Shah, who heads our strategic alliance, we've been talking to IFC SME Finance Forum for last 6 months. Can we be part of the ecosystem where any of the SME of these 190 countries want to trade between any of these countries, we solve the finance problem. So not only we become a member, but before we become the member, they recently had the annual conference in Cambodia, and they recognize us as one of the upcoming fintech to support SMEs globally. So this is a IFC-backed recognition which we have received recently. Of course, the credit goes to my team, Benita and Himakshi, who was after them, because we've been talking to ICICI earlier, we've been talking to IFCs of the world, and it was difficult to understand, very difficult. It's easier to understand a credit card, personal loan, what a wealth management company is doing in India, but it is difficult to understand trade finance. This is a very, very interesting slide. This is the logo which you see is not so if you see a Citibank logo, it's not Citibank invested in 360TF, but These are the finance professionals, commodity traders working in these companies who invested in our company. And this was also another unique thing which we did while interacting with lots of Sequoias and Tiber Globals and all the large fintech fund. That fintech fund, they understand the valuation, the growth and everything. But if you ask them what is UCP 600, they don't understand. You know, the investors. It's easier to understand credit card, buy now, pay later, Baiju's and other models because very simple, easily. But when it comes to trade finance, so we took a very interesting step that we said, let's go to the strategic angel investors. So what you see over here, Ali Bank of Kuwait, it's a Kuwaiti bank CFO, chartered accountant, investor in other. ADM is a US listed company. I'm sure a few of you will know. It's a large US giant. Their head of structured trade finance is our investor in 360 TF. You know, Al-Shirawi is like Tata of UAE. The chairman, if you heard of Jabal Ali Free Zone in UAE, the shareholder of us was the former chairman of Jabal Ali Free Zone in UAE. He's a shareholder in, so he's, people call him the Al-Shirawi family, the Ratan Tata of UAE, you know. Baker Tilly, you have from a couple of audit from one of the partner of Baker Tilly is our, you know, Bitco is the largest palm oil, edible oil company in East Africa. So it's a $1 billion plus company. So they are a family office. You know, somebody from CRISIL, head of IT of Credit Suisse of India is our shareholder, you know. You know, I heard of Imar Properties, Burj Khalifa, their head of tax is our shareholder. So we have done this unique head of strategy of Salesforce from UK is our shareholder. So we went to those strategic individual investors who are part of the journey and they are growing along with us. And we get a lot of those strategic inputs for the growth of 360 TF, whether it's contact or getting into a new geography. So ADM, if they do a $50 billion turnover, they buy a lot of goods from SMEs in US, in other market. And they're saying now, which of course Vikram is going to talk about, that I don't give LC, I am ADM listed company in US. I buy on open account. Can you discount bill on my risk? So it's telling, it's like a large listed company in India telling us that I don't give a LC, but I am a large group from India. I will buy on credit of 90 days. Can you discount bill? So I'm sure you all know invoice discounting or local bill discounting, but we're talking here of cross-border trade finance. So from here, where are we going? Our next step, Vikram is going to talk about. This is very quickly. This is again learning from doctor traveling to many countries that while we're developing our product, we're talking to client, we're developing our team, but what we're giving back to the society. We are very true, I will say, we were an early company or an early stage company, they call to get into a CSR, but I think that is very, very common to us, whether, you know, earlier days I remember when I was in school days or college days, I will go and put that money in a temple because I'm going to give the exams. But of course, that was more from a fear perspective. But that is there with us, that how we go back to society. This is very interesting. You see on the left side, the book drive called Old Books for New Eyes. So we've taken this initiative along with one of my friend who worked with Citibank and his daughter, Khushi, he taken the initiative where we collected the old books in UAE, the school, you know, the English books, and sending it to libraries in Kenya and Tanzania, where, you know, tied up with Lions Club and Rotary Club over there. So the initiative was started by one of our friends, but we are part of this initiative. We collected in just 20 days last month, 6,000 books in Dubai. And they're going through FedEx and Maersk shipping into Kenya for the poor children. So, and this just came through my daughter's school project, and we said, can we be part of this project? And literally, we've been getting call, WhatsApp, okay, we'll look forward to come and, so we have committed now that in next 1 year, we're going to donate 25,000 books between Kenya and India. So a lot of people are coming, why don't you do in India? So we're starting a pilot project in Rajasthan. We will connect again from rich people, Jaipur, Jodhpur, Udaipur, and give it to villages in Rajasthan. Yeah. So that's on the book. We have just launched our global art competition where children across the globe are participating in this competition. And this was, of course, the last year painting which we received. And interestingly, last year we received 17 painting from 17 countries. And we realized December goes, you know, in Middle East and other countries, December is a bit dull month, unlike India. So I said, one was that how do I engage my team? Okay, that they should not say, sir, kya kare? And second is, we know kids with the lockdown experience that they don't do anything in December because the children are already in Christmas. So we said we are committed every December we do this competition. Last year we received painting for 17 years, and this is our target to get painting from 100 countries. So we already have received in last few days 8 paintings and idea again to create this. And we got a decent first prize, from India Parliament I'm discussing, first prize is 30,000 rupees for a child in grade 3 to 5 and so on and so forth. So these are the few initiatives which we have taken. And again, thanks to my team who have put this all together. So thank you once again. This is our energetic team. We are going to mix of senior member and the young team members. So we are again a very interesting initiative which is led by my colleague Aparna, who is our people and culture manager, where we have minimum anytime 36 young leaders, which is interns, with us across the globe. And in the peak time, we were the first company in Middle East. We had 200 interns. 200 interns, young leaders in the month of July and August, which is again the summertime too. We had a couple of drives. And anytime we have 36 young leaders, we already have moved those young leaders to as a permanent team member with us. So this is our team based out of Jaipur. We have Lokesh with us here today, and of course Apar and other colleagues. But very, very energetic team. If anytime you travel to Jaipur, you should come and meet us and exchange the energies with my young team. So that's our team. Captain and Nusag, of course, are based in Dubai today, and Vikram is there who is going to speak. And we have again very strong boards. We have Anish Khan, he's a former chairman of SWIFT in India, in Bangladesh, my bad, and former chairman of ANZ Bank and CEO of Mutual Trust Bank. So he's part of our board. Then of course Yadwinder Mathur, former chairman of Exim Bank of India. He's on our board. Of course, coincidentally, he's also based out of Jaipur. And I would like to acknowledge here we have again my senior mentor and our relative, Shri Bansilalji Sabu, who is sitting with us today. And so I got connected to Yadwinder Mathur through his son, who is my brother-in-law, Amitabh, because they were together in Africa in a common party, and then we were in touch, and then we were putting up this project. He came, because he was finishing with Niti Ayog with Amitabh Kant, and then when he came out of this, we requested him to join our board. So he's on our board. And then we have Pinaki Roy, our strategic advisor from Calcutta, who is advising. He's there every week in Jaipur, teaching our team on ABCD of trade finance and then getting into discrepancies and so on and so forth. So that's all from my side. Thank you so much for your patience listening. As Doctor said, at the end of this hectic day on Monday, but we're looking forward to interacting with you during dinner and the drinks time as we all meet. So thank you once again. I hand over back to my team. Thank you.
Thank you, Pankaj, for taking us to the entire presentation and for sharing your journey. I would now like to call upon our co-founder and CEO, Mr. Vikram Lodha. He has been a banker all his life and is a stalwart in trade finance. His vision for 360 TF is what has been making this solution a one-stop marketplace. His problem-solving skills and finding solutions for extending benefits to exporters and importers makes him a great visionary. It's time for him to talk about his vision and from here to where about 360 TF. Please welcome him, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks, Amakshi. A very warm welcome once again to all the friends and Dr. Khandelwal, Ravi. Thanks a lot for being here and being with us in our journey in our launch for Mumbai. Without much time and ado, I will quickly take you through a few things that we've been working on for the past few months and quarters, and what has been our achievement over the last 2.5 years of making of 360 TF. We spent good 1 year odd, 14 months odd developing the platform and making it live. Then we went live in August 21, and since August 21 we've done a volume of $2.3 billion, and we have got 600 corporates on board. We have a presence across 20 different geographies as far as the corporates are concerned. We have received transactions from 170 odd banks. We have transactions from 57 odd geographies as issuing countries. We have transactions from 37 odd countries as a beneficiary country. We've kind of taken a path which has led us to achieving certain milestones which we had chalked out, I would say, way back in time and said at some point in time we will achieve these. All I can say is we are much ahead of our journey, and hence we said, if we are moving fast, let's move fast on some of the other aspects as well, that we've been thinking about. And before I get there, just sharing a few numbers with you. The overall market that we're looking at from the present scope of business, which is the LC business that we talk about, or the FI-led risk business, is anything around $8 trillion globally. And of that, what is serviceable by us and serviceable for 360 TF is anything around $2 trillion. That's the kind of number that we look at. It's a long way to look at only in the space that we are in. But we said, let's go beyond and see what else can we look at. And to Mr. Sinha, the overall SME piece that we are trying to address and help, it's a larger objective that plays in our mind. You know, how do we, which Pankaj also touched upon, how do we take more and more people from India and help them explore the international markets and help them avail financing in those markets. So that's a larger objective that we are playing on. Just a few numbers on the India paradigm. We were, from a GDP size perspective, India is a fifth largest economy in the world. We were number 10 way back in 2014. And some of the other parameters, what really interests me in this is the mobile phone penetration. We were at 12 and we are at 2 now. So that's a significant jump over the last 6-7 years, if you look at. INR journey, I believe this is something that all the exporters, importers present here, they've been witnessing it. But this has been quite a resilient move by INR, and we see this happening. The entire play by RBI or the market forces has been beneficial to the currency. But for all this that's happened by RBI or the market forces, we would have been on the other side of the table. And that would have really impacted us on either side, be it the imports or the exports. We see this playing out a little more. Now, this is an interesting matrix, and this also takes me through our next journey that we are looking at. The overall factoring business globally, okay, that we look at, and some of the comparatives that we have from the other corridors, other countries that we are looking at. Let's look at China as a competitor. I'm just focusing on the international trade factoring. That's around $72 billion of international factoring that they do, vis-a-vis a $1 billion that India does. If you look at the European economies, they're far ahead in terms of numbers, given the size of their economy as well. And given the size of our economy, there's a tremendous potential to explore that market and do more on that side. And that's our next endeavor. As far as the business proposition is concerned, we are getting into the underwriting business. These are some of the companies that we have looked at from the counterparty perspective, who we want to explore more and more and work with the suppliers from India who are supplying to these companies, and we can take a risk on these companies. Now, this is the final slide from my side, and this is an important one. This kind of chalks out our roadmap. Where are we? Where did we start from, and where do we land up? We are at, we are at a juncture wherein we have achieved level 2. We have developed a risk distribution platform for banks, wherein banks can start distributing risk on the trade side through the technology provided by 360 TF. We're getting on to the next level, wherein we are working on a marketplace model for the underwriting open account business, where we will bring in a lot of liquidity and scope for the Indian exporters to get their bills financed, which are on open account basis, where there is no bank involved. It's out and out a corporate risk. So that's the first endeavor that we work on. And eventually, during the same year, we also want to get into do a bit of on-book lending, wherein we can take some exposure on the counterparties and do some on-book lending. So that's the endeavor for 23. While our pace for customer acquisition continues the way we've been onboarding corporates, our larger objective on that side is to onboard 10,000 plus corporates over the period of next 2 to 4 years. By 25, our endeavor is to reach that number. While we do that, the end result for us is to become the first trade finance digital bank, and that's something that we are all working towards. And all these are the pieces that we are bringing together one by one to land up in that zone. With that, thank you, and we hope to see you more and more, and we continue to do these kind of events in Mumbai as we move ahead. Thanks a lot for being here, and thanks for having a patient hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Vikram. This brings us to our second last session for the day. Our global corporate head, Mr. Lokesh Paliwal, is one of the most joyous members of the team. His rich experience in banking and corporate relations has been tremendously effective in motivating the team. I would now like to open the floor for him to introduce us to the benefits of 360 TF.
Good evening, all. Thank you so much, Himakshi. You are so generous. Today you are in a pleasant mood. I'm good to hear that. So, just to start on a lighter note, what is we are doing, since we are talking about the solution which we are providing, I think it is the right time to show you the platform as well as certain benefits which we are extending, and that you can definitely take benefit of that through our platform by reaching the same to your corporates also. So what is the traditional way of banking? Suppose if you are having a consortium or multiple banking kind of arrangement where you will be speaking to maybe 2 bankers, 3 bankers, 4 bankers, they will be having lines or not in those emerging developing markets. So what we have done, we have automated process on behalf of you where we are dealing with your banks. If you see the first thing, we are contacting your first banks. Those are the banks, we are bringing those banks on our platform. We are helping in automation of your trade finance requirement. At the same time, on behalf of you, I am approaching all the other global banks also. So let's say you are dealing with 5 banks. I am adding another 245 banks in your book so that you have a reach to 250 banks. And definitely those 245 banks where you are not having any kind of exposure, if that bank is having exposure on one of your bank, on one of your client bank, definitely your liquidity will increase because collateral backed exposure is limited for every MSME. Next up. So what is the platform journey? It's a simple web-based platform like creating an account on Gmail or Instagram or Facebook. I know Dr. Anil has already said that we are bombarded with the information, so I will not touch upon that. You all know what all social media form. Simple, it is a web-based platform where you have to sign up with one company document and one user document, and you are good to go to touch upon all the banks where you are not even aware that such bank exists in that particular part of the world or not. Once you are done, your transaction placement starts. You can place a transaction with 7 basic fields. Of course, on the platform, I will show you that there are certain fields, but with the 7 bare minimum fields, which involves both party names, both bank's name, the transaction tenure, currency, and amount. That's the basic details required for a financial institution to consider that transaction and place a quote if they are interested in that transaction. Reaching to 45 banks doesn't mean that all will participate in your quote, but those banks having line on your requirement will definitely would like to have that business. Reason for this is that trade receivables is one of the most secured business for financial institution divisions of the bank. Because even a crisis like Sri Lanka, we have seen there is hardly any default in trade receivables. Even if it is delayed, but your money is still safe. That's why banks' treasuries are putting more and more money in taking bank exposure rather than corporate exposure. Next up. These are our partner banks and our coverage across the globe. If you see North America, Africa, Asia, and Europe, where major economies are and like us, they are developing, and there is a more need of finance for MSMEs because every country wants to be self-sustainable. As this was the major theme for our WCO event which we had in Mumbai last year. That was a brilliant event where a lot of businessmen, including Mr. Adani to Mr. Piyush Goyal, participated, and everybody focused that every country has to be sustainable. That's why this image is very important, that every customer, every country wants to grow their exporter base so that their balance sheet is healthy. That's why we are covering more and more countries. These are the key corporates, as Pankaj and Vikram mentioned, that we are already 600 plus client family already on the board, and these are the primary customers across the globe. You can see some few listed companies across the globe, as well as some companies who are having turnover more than few billions in terms of export as well. So having said that, we will quickly jump on the platform. I just want you to see 3-4 screens and how we are adding value to corporate life. Meanwhile, since it is a web-based platform, we want you to see the live screen. In case you have any questions about 360 journey till now, before we see the platform, if you have any questions, I will be more than happy to answer it in terms of corporate relationship and the bank piece we are speaking. So this is our website. I request you to please visit our website. On your tables, we have placed that where you can visit our website as well as our LinkedIn page to know more about us. It is a simple web-based platform. You just need to go on our website and sign up. This is the sign up page. We will ask your basic details, company name, GST number or whatever regulatory number, and uploading of 2 documents. One is company registration document, which could be GST certificate, IEC certificate, or any kind of company registration document, and the second will be user base. Now, this is the transaction platform where you will place the transaction. I know some of you will be having a tough time in viewing it from the last screen, but I will try to help you as I can. If you see what is your requirement, whether your requirement is confirmation discounting, both bank evaluation, anything, you need to select your particular requirement regarding that transaction. Once you select the transaction, you will place the details of applicant or beneficiary. If you are an importer, you are opening an LC, you will place the transaction as an applicant. If you are exporter and you are getting an LC, I'm just talking in the sense of LC so that we can have a clear understanding rather than going for evaluation and all these products. If you are getting an LC, you will place the transaction in the exporter capacity. You will place both the party names. We have given all the fields which can be tentatively filled, like bill of lading date or shipment date, tentative shipment date, who will bear the charges and all these. These are optional columns which you can give it. The mandatory columns which I told you are the simple, both party names, both bank's name, currency, tenure and amount. These are the basic details. Once you fill up all the details, you move on to save and preview, where you can have a summary of your transaction that, okay, these are the basic details which I have filled it. We have a capacity developed in the platform. If you are going to place the same transaction when party remains same, only amount and the shipment date need to be changed, you can save that transaction. And again, you don't not to fill all the details. You can just edit the transaction and it will be auto-placed. Like the saved screen transaction we have seen. Now transaction will move to your active transaction queue, where you will see all the transactions placed by you. Of course, you will also see that what are the quotes received. If you see the first line, the transaction value is 98,000 USD, and confirmation and discounting is the product which you selected, and then quote received says 4. Apar, can you click on 4? So this is the main matchmaking engine where you have placed the transaction, and all the banks who are interested in this transaction have placed their requirement, have placed their financing. Why I am saying requirement? In case the particular product LC is having certain clause which bank need to amendment, they will place that information as well, and they will give their pricing. This pricing has confirmed details. Apar, can you please click on first pricing? So all the charges have been bifurcated at our end only. So you don't have any confusion that in which head the bank is going to charge how much. Confirmation, discounting, negotiation, courier charges, whatever charges is being getting debited from your account or deducted from your proceeds is covered here. So you have got 4 banks, and this is without recourse. So no exposure on your bank balance sheet, your balance sheet, it transfers to bank balance sheet the moment you accept the transaction. In case 2 pricings are same, if you see that 5518 in first and transaction, we are also trying to build the intelligence in the software where we will update all the ratings so that you can take a call. You should not take a call only because of pricing, right? So we are trying to add as much as ratings of the bank so that before knowing the bank name, you are rest assured that, okay, this bank is sound enough. Once you click on accept, You will have the details of the bank who has provided the quote and what are their terms and conditions, and post that you can incorporate this name in your LC instrument, and they will take care of your transaction. LC will route as it happens currently in the system, because LC documents are routed bank to bank. Hence, we have no role in that. We have find a bank for you. We have done the price discovery and bank discovery for you. Now, Apar, just a second for dashboard. So our system, since it is based on AI, whatever, let's say you have done the 10 transactions, you want to see the summary that which country we are having exposure, what all transactions I have placed. There is a smart dashboard available where you can have the product-wise, country-wise, successful transactions, all those transactions where we were able to bring code for you. This all information is active and live available for you, and all the transactions you have placed are downloadable for your audit and track purpose, and whole 100% audit trail of the transaction will also be available. So your trade finance guy need not to run anywhere that if this transaction was given to only SBI, only BOB, which are your bankers. I am not doing any competition with the banks. I am just trying to enhance the capabilities of MSMEs so that they can reach to more and more banks. I am just a facilitator provider, and of course banks are my major partners because they are helping us to finally do the business. So this is all from my side. We all will be here, me, Himakshi, Apar, Ritesh. If you have any questions on platform, since we are running out of the time, we will take the questions over dinner. We all will be here. Now I would like to call Himakshi for a vote of thanks.
Thank you everyone for being patient with us and of course hearing us out. As a part of Team 360 TF, I would like to express my gratitude to all the members present here, the Almighty, our friends, family, and everyone, everyone who has helped us grow each day, all our customers. And as today, we embark the journey together of welcoming you all as a part of 360 TF. First announcement being first, I would like all of the corporates here or all of y'all here to onboard on the platform today itself and try out what 360 TF looks like when you are using it and how user-friendly it is. Coming up next, we have a special announcement for all the guests who are here, and this is on, on behalf of Dr. Anil Khandelwal, sir. He has, there is an upgrade of the book Dare to Lead, which is being published by the Penguin Group, and we would like to send across the copies to all of y'all. Make sure you drop in your cards, at the registration desk for us to share these copies. Of course, I'm sure after hearing him out, we all want to read more and we all want to listen to him more. So please do not forget to share your visiting cards there. The house is now open for dinner and for drinks. So please make yourselves comfortable. Before that, before leaving the room, we would request everyone to please come near the stage and we'll have a group picture with everyone. Requesting everyone's presence from outside to please come in the room. We would like to have a group picture. Ladies and gentlemen from the backside, please move ahead. Requesting everyone to come up on the floor, please.
So all of us on the stage, yeah? Come.
Yes, sir. Please.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please. There are chairs on both left and right side of the stage. We could all
Please
come
come.
on the same
Okay.
stage.
Dada. On the stage.
Sorry, I'm going a little late.
Please be on this side.
Then probably get to see your video later then. Man, क्या मुंबई ऑफिस का?
Hey man.
Good to see you. आना तो था यार, चाहे कुछ भी हो जाए. How are you?
Yeah.
वो जो पीछे है ना सरे ले लो ना उनको या तो जो पीछे है उनका हाइट कम है तो छुप गए Yes, sir. Please.
Chair पे चल जाओ. नहीं.
Steady. Steady.
So it's truly 360 degrees.
Yes, sir. Please. Hold on. अच्छा पीछे रुको एक मिनट यार. आजा पीछे.
Because the character were not there in the picture.
Hold on, hold on.
Thank you so much.
No, it doesn't. That thing is changing. The CEO has to be at the age of 35 to 38 to lead the company.
Not many other times. हमारे corporate all trades match करे आपने.
मेरे cousin brother है.
काका जी नहीं नहीं नॉट सत्यनारायण जी
You've done.
We did exchanges, but this was by thanks for it.
4-5 months back in a marriage. I got confused because there are two
Chairman or
We met him
That's what we do. So at my desk at least, especially we do that. So there is absolutely. Also, once you drop the mail, what's happening is sometimes the mail lines are confusing. Thanks. Please hug it up and don't forget to have some. Please. I insist. Thank you.
lot is done.
certified. Yes, sir.
बहुत बड़ा है लोगों को करने का पकड़ लिया तो देख बाबा रामदेव का
He came up to me, he said, amazing. He did not know. She said that you need to have such a email.
Allez, GP. Yo léegi GP da ngeen ci plateforme bi rek après ñu jël seen sa bagage. Dans le monde, il y a 24 000 compagnies. Mais nous, on signe des accords qu'avec les 50 000 compagnies. Et on estime que c'est seulement 2,5%.